What's going on, anatomists? I'm going to take you through a virtual and live demonstration of the location of the superficial muscles of the upper arm. All right, let's get started. So you have your biceps brachii, brachialis, and brachioradialis. Again, biceps brachii, and then just lateral is your brachialis, and then down the forearm, brachioradialis. So I'll draw this out here for you. This is your brachioradialis. The next one is your extensor carpi radialis longus. Why extensor? Because it extends the wrist. Why carpi? Because it attaches to your carpals, your wrist. Why radialis? Because it goes down along the radial bone. Why longus? Because there's a brevis, which is the next one. So here is your extensor carpi radialis brevis. Here's your extensor retinaculum. Here's your extensor digitorum. Why is it called digitorum? Because it attaches all the way down to your digits, down to your fingers. Extensor digitorum. And finally, the last one is your extensor carpi ulnaris. What's the difference? Well, it goes down along the ulnar bone. So you have your brachioradialis, extensor carpi radialis longus, extensor carpi radialis brevis, extensor digitorum, and finally extensor carpi ulnaris. Now we got our flexors. So this is flexor carpi ulnaris. It flexes the wrist, and it's attached to the wrist, and it goes down the ulnar bone. Then we have our palmaris longus. This is the palmaris longus. We'll do this one first. Palmaris longus. We'll draw the retinaculum, going all the way around. And then in between there, here is our flexor digitorum superficialis. Flexor digitorum superficialis. It sort of sits underneath the palmaris longus. And finally, our flexor carpi radialis. Flexor carpi radialis. So here's our flexor carpi ulnaris, then our flexor digitorum superficialis. Here's our palmaris longus all the way down, and then our flexor carpi radialis. Now, we have a couple that are kind of hidden. This is your pronator teres. Your pronator teres is, half of it is showing, half of it is not. So when this thing contracts, it pronates the hand. When it contracts, when it shortens, it pronates the hand. One more time, when it shortens, pronates the hand. Then you have another one underneath it that's completely hidden unless you take off a few muscles, and that's your supinator. Why do screws screw to the right? Why is it righty-tighty, lefty-loosey? Well, in the 1800s, someone figured that the stronger of the two, pronator teres and supinator, figured that the supinator was the strongest of the two, so that's why all screws screw to the right. Of course, you got right-handed people, so mostly right-handed people, so screw to the right. When this thing shortens, it supinates your hand. Shortens, the supinator supinates the hand. Supinate. All right, one more time for good measure. One more time. Here's our biceps brachii, brachialis, and then brachioradialis. Then we have our extensor carpi radialis longus, extensor carpi radialis brevis, extensor digitorum, And finally, the last extensor, extensor carpi ulnaris. Now for the flexors, still ulnaris, flexor carpi, there it is right there. Flexor carpi ulnaris. Flexor digitorum superficialis. Palmaris longus. Flexor carpi radialis. Here's our pronator teres. You can see half of it, and there it pronates. Pronate. And lastly, our supinator. When it shortens, it supinates. And that's all. Thanks for watching, guys, and study well.